Hey, what's up, people? Piz out here. Today I've got another review for you guys straight out of the annals of File 13. The movie I want to talk to you guys about is New Year's Evil from 1980. And New Year's Evil was one of those early 80s sort of obscure slasher movies based on a holiday, which of course was popular at the time. And I first saw New Year's Evil probably 10 to 12 years ago, if not longer. Rented it from a local Ma and Pa video store, and I honestly didn't remember very much about it when I decided to watch it again on Netflix. It's streaming on Netflix. It's in high def, so I'm actually not sure if New Year's Evil ever got a proper DVD or Blu-ray release up to this point, but there is a pretty high-def version streaming on Netflix if you're interested. But anyway, the movie revolves around this popular DJ in Los Angeles named Blaze. And Blaze is hosting this televised sort of battle of the bands featuring all these different new wave rock bands. And it's a call-in show. You're supposed to call in and vote for your favorite new wave song of the year. And she begins receiving phone calls from someone using a voice-changing apparatus of some sort, calling himself Evil, claiming that he is going to kill someone every hour leading up to midnight on the West Coast Pacific time. So he's going to kill someone every hour in different time zones leading up to the West Coast, in which his final victim will be Blaze. Now, where to begin with New Year's Evil? Right off the bat, it's not your typical kind of masked slasher movie or slasher movie where, you know, the killer is hidden in the shadows. You can't really see them. In the first 10 minutes of the movie, you see the killer. You're face to face with the killer, so you kind of know who the killer is. You can see the killer. You know what the killer looks like, I should say. You don't really know who he is, but you know his mission, which is kind of an interesting mission. He's killing people according to different time zones. He's got a clock. The clock is ticking constantly. And what's funny is we kind of follow him more so than we do the protagonist of the film, Blaze, which is actually really not a bad thing, because when you start to encounter the other characters in the film, you realize that really the killer in New Year's Evil is the only person who you're kind of rooting for. Every other character in the film is kind of an awful, horrible character. One of his victims is like a nurse, and within 5 minutes of meeting him, she's throwing herself all over him. There is an absolute, one of the greatest kills in slasher movie history happens in New Year's Evil. Our killer he's wearing this awesome fake Tom Selleck thick mustache. He's coerced this woman to go with him to a party or something, but she shows up with her friend, and she's like, well, you didn't expect me to go with you. I just met you without bringing a friend, blah, blah, blah. So he's in the car with these two girls, his would-be victim in the middle. And she's just blah, 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 and he's watching the clock, and he's listening to her, and he's just making these faces like, oh, you know, almost comedic. Like, how did I end up in this situation? And it's absolutely hilarious. He finally gets her friend out of the car, and he tells the girl, hey, you want to smoke a joint? And she's like, oh, sure. And he pulls up this big bag of weed, and he's like, oh, yeah, take a whiff of that. And she's like, oh, yeah. And as she's taking a whiff of it, he puts the bag over her head and suffocates her. Absolutely hilarious. Cracked me up. That sequence, hilarious. Awesome, awesome sequence. Which, I don't think it's intended to be hilarious, yet it is. This movie is so strange. It is, at times, mind-numbingly dull. Very, very mind-numbingly dull and boring. Then it shifts to just side-splittingly hilarious, to just sort of painfully annoying when you start to see the other characters in the film. There's Blaze, the protagonist, the lead, the heroine, is a self-centered, self-absorbed bitch. And they even imply at one point that she is like an incestuous pedophile. Her son is just this whiny, emo crybaby. Her manager's this jerk. The cops are idiots. All of the killer's victims are just like horrible people. The only person in this film you're rooting for, that you have any sort of that you can even remotely like is the killer, and you are rooting for the killer. At the end of this film, I was rooting, I was praying, I was saying, please, please kill Blaze. Please kill Blaze. It is a hilarious, low-budget, goofy, silly slasher movie. Here's how silly the movie is. Rewind back to what I was talking about, the new wave bands. The new wave bands are really just sort of 80s metal bands with the high falsetto voices. But the people who are in the crowd watching them are like these hardcore punk kids. Which, why would a punk kid want to go to a new wave show? Why would a punk kid want to stay at a new wave show when it's just typical 80s metal? And like they've got sequences where the kids are, I guess, supposed to be moshing or slam dancing or doing something to that effect. But they're just sort of, they almost look like modern club kids who are out of their mind on like ecstasy or ketamine or some drug, and they're just sort of wandering around like zombies, bumping into each other. It makes absolutely no sense what's going on in the movie. All those sequences are absolutely hilarious. I have to say, and even when New Year's Evil is mind-numbingly dull and boring, it's still somewhat entertaining because it's this, you can't even call it a B movie. It's like below B. It gives other B movies a bad name, but it's like just totally entertaining and fun to watch and fun to laugh at and fun to be annoyed at and even fun to be kind of bored with, to be perfectly honest with you. I had a great time watching the movie. I recommend it. It's on Netflix right now. Wow. Just wow. Just the kind of movie that you watch and at the end of it, you just kind of sit there for a second or two while the credits are rolling and you just are at a loss. You're at a total loss. And yeah, wacky movie, but a lot of fun. So I recommend it. Go check it out. That was New Year's Evil from 1980. Perfect flick for File 13. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you've seen New Year's Evil, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think of it. If there's a particularly sleazy B-movie, slasher, cult movie, exploitation movie that you think would be a perfect fit into File 13, please leave it in the comment section below. And until next time, you guys take it easy.